Square was originally a love story, like a triangle love story but with 4 people, so I changed it to Square. So a love Square, and that was the first initiative for the show. And then we just created these really cool, exciting characters. We thought we can do much more with this, but then of course we made them activists, and that's really cool, and that's a really good angle to look at. And we tackle so many topical issues.
When I came on board, one of the earliest things I said was we could make this really, really current and really political. So we made quite a lot of the characters left-wing activists. We made more of a thing about the dynamics between activists and the police. And Owen likes to credit me with making it political, but I always say, no, I didn't make it political. It was political from the start, you just didn't realise it. And I think that's something that a lot of people forget, which is that politics is not just about politicians. We explore some very current and topical themes within Square, but not necessarily from a big worldly perspective. It's mostly just told from ordinary people like you and I going about their day-to-day lives in Bristol. And I think that's something that we all need to remember, which is that politics involves all of us.
We wanted to really see real characters in our characters, and the main character is Justin, and I'm really pleased I wrote that character because he's an unusual character. He's got so much kindness in his heart, but he does not always show that. He's vulnerable. I think the viewers see a lot more of him than the people around him in the show, but as the series develops, we do see a lot more about the real Justin.
He's got so many views that I agree with, and I feel for him. I feel very empathetic towards him, actually, because in many ways he's a very vulnerable character. But having said that, if he was a person in my life, I don't think I would like him, and I don't think we would really get along. My favourite character in Square is Trixie. And the reason I love Trixie is, you've probably heard, because most of us have, about the importance of having strong women on TV shows. The actual strong women that end up on TV tend to be white, middle class, probably in their mid-40s as an average demographic, and fairly secure in their profession and fairly affluent. And Trixie is 21 years old. She's black, she's working class, she lives in rented accommodation, she's probably on benefits, and she's a single mother to a 6-year-old. Every weekend, she's out there with a megaphone, making a difference in the world, standing up for what's right, standing up for grassroots campaigning.
Having George on board has been really great because we both see things very similar, but we also see things in a very different way as well. So I've always got usually I'm the first to come up with an idea, and I throw it all down. He then tells me, he's like a craftsman. He just cuts around the edges of what I've just splitted out of my brain, and he'll make it into something more amazing than the original idea I had. So that's always fun.
I think that Owen and I are a really good team because we both bring different things to a script. Owen is hugely creative. He's got all these amazing ideas just bursting in his brain. It's almost like he's got a little cinema inside his head. He knows exactly how things need to look on screen, which is very far from what I do. And what I'm really good at is making things really polished and really professional and making the characters sound like the characters. So what normally happens is that Owen starts out by writing down all his crazy ideas and in whatever order they come into mind, and then I go through it with a fine-tooth comb and say, oh, maybe that line would be better up here, and maybe it's explaining a bit too much here, and maybe the character would say it a bit more like this, and the end result is that we get a really tight script that we've both made together.
I wanted to write about student life because I don't think we see enough of that on TV. And there's so much drama in student life. Like, there's good and bad of everything there, and there's just so much that you can write about. Like, so many different characters, so many different people of all different ages and different backgrounds, and I wanted to capture that on TV and also like show the fun side of university, but show like the real struggles that people actually go through as well, because it's not an easy ride. You know, people go there from the start and have a real good fun, expecting it's going to be perfect, new life and everything's going to come easy to them. But actually, it's quite the opposite, and we have people that might go down completely different routes of the way they thought their life was heading.
Square has something for everyone. There are characters of every background, slightly more affluent, slightly more working class, slightly more conservative, slightly more liberal. And what connects them all is that they're all trying to achieve something positive in the world according to the way that they see the world, which is something that we should all be doing. And I read quite a lot of dystopian literature, like 1984, and I watch TV shows like Years and Years, which Russell T Davies wrote last year, which is a very good drama, incidentally. But the thing that they all have in common is that they all bring a sense of fear of the way that we're going in the world. And I understand why, because I'm often quite afraid of the way that we're going in the world, but the one story that no one ever writes is a story of hope, a story about how, what if we do all pull together and we do all win this and we do all succeed in creating a better world for ourselves? That's what Square is, and that's what I want to achieve with this.
The crowdfund is going really well, and we want to sell out at Watershed, so you can all come and watch the premiere of Square with us. Please come down, it'll be a great night.